Okay guys, this is my 1993 Ford Ranger, two-wheel drive. I'm going to be showing you how to replace the wheel bearings. I've already did the right side. I'm going to show you how to do the left side. They're both exactly the same. So let's go ahead and get started. In case you don't know what the bearings look like, you're going to have a bearing and two sleeves. So you're going to have your outer wheel bearing and then your inner wheel bearing. And this goes on the inside. So make sure you have all this in order to replace it. Now, these aren't 100% necessary. If yours are bad, then you can replace them. My other wheel, they were brand new and they were fine, so I didn't even bother because they're kind of a pain in the ass to get out unless you have the proper tool. But for the sake of the video, I might actually just pop these out in this wheel bearing. So, all right, the next thing you're going to want to do is place your jack underneath, and as you can see, it's just right there. It's not going to have too much weight on it, so like I said, you're only lifting one side of the truck at a time. Once you're completed jacking this, jack it all the way up and go ahead and put a jack stand underneath it, because a jack is never enough to hold up a vehicle. Just to be safe, put a set of jack stands underneath it, and that way you won't have to worry about it. Also, block your rear wheels, and if you have a 5-speed transmission like I do, go ahead and throw it in first gear just for extra precaution, and emergency brake as well. Okay, once your car or truck is successfully off the ground, what you're going to want to do is get your jack stand and place it right here in the center area, or just find some sort of strong support that you can put a jack stand under. Like I said, there's not much weight on this, so honestly, if you wanted to leave the jack for this, you probably could. Like I said, I don't recommend it because a jack in my eyes is never enough, but you go ahead and do what you want. But like I said, I recommend putting the jack stand right here, and that way it's real close to where you're going to be working, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, so because of the size of my jack, I'm going to have to put a jack stand over here. My other jack is not working, so I'm having to use this bottle jack. So just go ahead and you can, like I said, you can use any really strong support. Like I said, I'm keeping mine right here, and then the jack's going to be right here. I'm going to slowly let this down, and then I'll get back to you. Alright guys, next thing you're going to want to do, your lug nuts might be different because I also have wheel spacers and I'm running some aftermarket wheels and tires. So your nuts might be different, but my size is 19mm. I'm using a nice air ratchet here. It makes the job a lot easier. I recommend getting one of these. Another thing I recommend for this is definitely a lot of gloves. This is a very messy deal because you're going to have to be pressing grease into a lot of bearings, and it's a very messy job, so I recommend some gloves. But we're going to start off in a star pattern to take these off. When your truck is on the ground fully, go ahead and loosen them up, and then when you jack them up, it'll be a lot easier to get off. So just make sure that you loosen up these nuts when the tire is on the ground. That way you don't get your tire spinning when you're trying to loosen the lug nuts. Alright guys, once your wheel is off, you're going to have these two push pin type deals. What you're going to want to use, I actually use a ratchet extension, and you can just tap those out with a hammer. There's one right there, and there's one right down here. And sometimes they're a little stubborn, but if you want, you can get some WD-40 or some carb cleaner. I actually have some carb cleaner right in my back of my truck somewhere. So just go ahead and spray these off. If you want, put a pan underneath to collect all the crap. I'm actually going to do that, and I'll show you a video of me cleaning it too, so you know what to do. Alright guys, I got my pan and I got my carb cleaner here. Brake cleaner works too. That's what you're kind of really supposed to use, but carb cleaner works just as good. So just go ahead and spray those pieces just to get all the crap off. And like I said, keep a pan underneath because it is going to drip a lot of brake dust and other stuff from this. And don't be afraid to get this on your brakes. It won't really hurt it too bad as long as you wipe it off when you're done. Okay guys, once your two pins are out, it's as simple as just kind of wiggling it around, and she'll slide right out. You kind of need two hands for it, so I can't really show you for the video because I'm holding the camera with this one. But like I said, carb cleaner to getting dirt out of there if there's anything holding it in, and just wiggle it around a little, and then it'll come out. Alright guys, once it's off, you're going to have another brake pad, just like this, and it's going to go in right back in here. There's some grooves right down here, and they fit into the groove like so. And they just fit right in, so just make sure you pull that out when you pull that out, so that way the brake pad doesn't drop and break if they are good brakes. And I'm thinking about doing mine since the wheel's already off. This would be a good time to do them. Mine are pretty good though, so I say I'm going to leave them. Alright, so the next thing you're going to want to do is straighten out your wheel if you have it turned. I turned it because it was a little easier to get the caliper off that way. So just go ahead and turn it straight, and then you're going to pop off this center cap right here, and I'll go from there. Alright guys, once you get that cap off, you're going to have a cotter pin right here, and you're going to have a retaining clip. Go ahead and pop out your old cotter pin and pop out your retaining clip. This just kind of sits in there, just protects the nut. So just go ahead and pop out this cotter pin and pop out this retaining bolt. One more thing, the only reason why I'm doing both wheel bearings is because my driver's side front completely blew out and my whole wheel was doing something like this. So as you can see, this wheel bearing is perfectly fine. It doesn't really make much noise, it's never really gave me any issues. But for the sake of when you do your wheel bearings, just replace both of them. They're so cheap. I think I only paid like 35 bucks for the pair. So just for the sake of 35 bucks, just go ahead and do both of them and not have to worry about it. This is the first time I've done them personally since I've owned the truck. So I'm just going to go ahead and replace them anyway because this truck was a little bit beat on before I bought it from the previous owner. So like I said, if you're buying a truck used, just go ahead and replace them anyway. I've been taking care of this truck since I got it, so I'm just kind of going in and fixing everything. But like I said, for the sake of 35 bucks, just replace both of them. It takes a little bit more time, and I know it's kind of a pain in the ass, but trust me, it's worth it at the end of the day. Okay, once you go in here and take out your cotter pin and your retaining clip, there's going to be this big old nut here. Go ahead, it's probably going to be finger tight. If they're not, then just go ahead and loosen it. I'm going to figure out what size it is and I'll show you real quick. Alright, so the size is going to be 1 1/16 for the center nut right here. As you can see, it fits pretty snug on there. Hold on. If I can get it on there. There we go. Alright, and then there's going to be a little washer behind it. Forgot to mention that because I just slid it off, but literally you can just push it off. These bearings look pretty freaking good. I think these are pretty recently replaced, but like I said, I'm just going to replace them anyway for the sake of the video, and it's just a lot cheaper just to do it, just so you're sure. Alright guys, once your rotor is off, go ahead and just make sure that the shaft is nice and wiped down and clean. Make sure there's no imperfections, any nicks, grooves, or anything like that. And if there is, just make sure you just kind of try and sand them down. If they're really, really bad and it's like cracked, then you're going to probably have to replace your whole wheel assembly. So just make sure this is nice and wiped down, and you pack it with some nice grease. I recommend some marine grease because it's also a lot more water resistant, and that's what I'm going to be using for the video. So after this is a pretty simple thing to do, so you're not going to be struggling too much. Alright, the first bearing you have is going to be this one. So what you're going to want to do is pack this with grease as much as you can. Trust me, more grease is not going to hurt it. And it's going to go flat side with the lip in, just like so. Here, just again, so I can show you guys. It's going to go in just like that, and it'll push right up against that. I'm not going to do it because there's no grease on it, but it pushes right in, and you'll feel it snap in. Alright guys, so the next thing you're going to want to check is your races. Mine feel pretty darn good. If there's any crap in there, clean it out. As you can see, there's some dirt in there or whatever, so go ahead and clean that out. I'm going to use some carb cleaner to get all this gunk out. And but if they feel smooth, don't worry about the races, because the races don't really wear out as fast. The races are kind of a pain in the ass to get out. If you have to get it out, see that ring down there? You're just going to take a flathead and just push it out with the hammer, or you can get the actual proper tool, which I recommend a little bit more. So another thing too is if there is a blown bearing, you will know, because here's another piece from the bearing. So if these ever were replaced, that was probably the reason. So like I said, you don't really have to replace your races. I'm not going to. I'm going to clean it out real good with some carb cleaner, and then we'll be alright after that. And I'm going to blow it out with the air hose. Alright guys, as you can see, it's nice and clean now. It ain't have to be perfect because you're just going to repack it with grease anyway. But I checked all my sleeves right here, and they're okay. So like I said, as long as you don't feel any nicks in them, I'm going around this and it feels smooth to me. But as long as you don't feel any nicks in them, don't even worry about it, because they're really a pain in the ass to get out, I'm not going to lie. So just go ahead, and from here it's pretty easy. What you're going to want to do is, this is your inner wheel bearing right here. This is going to go on just like this. This is how it fits in the hub. So what you're going to do is it's just going to slide on right here like so, and just go ahead and pack the shit out of this with some grease too, and you'll be good to go. So just make sure you really pack this. Like I said, more grease is not going to hurt. So go ahead and pack the shit out of this, and then just slide it right on. Alright guys, once you push this on, it should go on fairly easy. Make sure you grease the shaft as well on this. If you don't, just make sure you put a shitload in the bearing, and it'll be okay. But like I said, just make sure you grease the shaft, like I said. So, and then from there, you're gonna pretty much go ahead and pack your small bearing too. That's a brand new one. I just packed it while I was packing that one because I don't want to waste too many gloves. Because like I said, this is a very messy job. So once this is on, you can just take your rotor and just go ahead and just slide it right on. It'll slide right on, and then I'll get back to you when we get there. Also, I forgot to mention, go ahead and slap some grease inside this too as well. Ain't gonna hurt it. Alright guys, once you get to this point, your rotor will be back on, and you're just gonna want to take this bearing right here, and it's just gonna slide in flat face towards you, just like that. And then what you're gonna want to do after that bearing is in, this little washer in here, hold on, I got it for you. This little washer right here only goes on a certain way, as you can see. So once you have that bearing pushed in, just go ahead and slide this over it, and then just start hand tightening this nut right here onto it. Okay, now this nut you're only going to want to really put on a little bit more than finger tight, because if you put it too tight, then your wheel won't spin, because there is some bearings in this. So as long as it don't wobble, which it doesn't, you're good to go. So then after this, you're going to put your cotter pin in, and then you're going to put this little cover cap on it. If you manage to lose this somehow, you really don't have to worry about it. I lost the one on the other wheel, and I'm driving it for about a week now. Nothing's really happened. So, alright guys, once you're done with that and you got your cotter pin in and it's nice and secure in there, just go ahead and take your cap. If you manage to break it or it has a hole in it, if it has a hole in it, just go ahead and just buy a new one, but fill this with grease. And then just tap it in there with a little hammer. I'll show you that too. Alright guys, so once you do that, just go ahead and take your hammer and just lightly tap it in there, and you'll feel it when it's in. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to show you how to put your caliper back on. I recommend a brake compression tool, but if you do not have one, a pair of channel locks work just fine. One more thing as well, if you manage to get some grease on your caliper, or not on your caliper, on your rotor, just go ahead and wipe it off. As you can see, I got some on mine. Just make sure you wipe it off with a rag. Use some brake cleaner or some carb cleaner if you got it, so rinse it down. Alright, so to decompress your caliper, you can either use a set of these vice type grips, you can use a C-clamp, channel locks, or just a brake compression tool. They're like $5. I have one somewhere in this damn garage, but I can't seem to find it. So what you're going to want to do is just go ahead and clamp it on there, and then just go ahead and squeeze it, and you'll feel it compress. Open up the hood and pop the cap on your brake fluid reservoir. And then once you do that, this should ease in. It's going to be a little hard to compress, but it'll be alright. Alright, so as you can see, my caliper piston is now in here. So what you're going to want to do is grab your pad, and it's going to only fit in a certain way. I believe it goes just like so. And you'll see the little grooves that I talked about in the beginning of the video that I'm talking about. They just slide right in, and you slide this caliper right over, and then I'll get to you when we get to that. Alright, so the other brake pad is back in. So what you're going to want to do, just take this, it should just slide right in, go bottom first. I'm trying to hold the camera here, so I do apologize. Go bottom in first, and then it should just slide right in like so. And then once it's in, just kind of adjust it and get it to where you need it to be. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your pins from before, these little guys, and just go ahead and slide them right in. And then the other one will go in the bottom. You're going to probably have to tap that one in with the hammer, and then I'll get to you when we get to that. Alright, so once these are in like this, what you're going to do is they're real easy. All you got to do is take your hammer and just tap them right in, and you'll feel the other end snap, which is right there. And just make sure it goes all the way through, and it did. Just gonna give you a little bit more of a tap. There we go. Now she's in. Just make sure she's tight in there, and the same thing goes to the bottom. Just go ahead and give that a nice little tap. Sorry for the recording, guys. I'm trying to do this with one hand. So, but as you can see, now the other pin is in. Your caliper's locked in. Your wheel don't shake, and now you got new wheel bearings. So just go ahead and put your tire back on. Make sure your brakes work properly before you get in. So just go ahead and pump the brakes and re-engage that cylinder onto that. And I'm going to show you how to put the tire back on, just in case you guys don't know. You're going to go in a star pattern, just like this. So the tire is going to go on, and you're just going to go in a star pattern. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then just go all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and make sure they're tight. Go drive up and down the road real quick, and then come back, and then again do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then just go all the way around to make sure that everything's tight, because things will probably loosen up a little bit once you start driving. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more. I'm probably going to be doing a lot more to this truck, so if you want to see more, go ahead and like and subscribe. Thanks.